about another song as well. Probably, again, another favorite of mine. Love Souvenir. Um, Absolutely, probably one of my most listened to songs. I actually had to ask John to reset the stream for me because of that. It locked it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask about that song, it kind of gave me vibes of like old school Nightwish, like a little slow love slow maybe.
Mhm.
But also,
Is
I don't
that
know if you
old
guys ever
school?
have you ever heard of a band called Leprous?
I fucking love Leprous.
Yeah.
Good year.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So kind of gave me some Leprous vibes as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What can you say
definitely
about
during
that
the
track?
recording, the vocal recording process, we
Yeah,
were definitely trying to get a little bit of Adrian does Einar, and I think it
exactly. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, this is Ryan with Ethereal Metal, and I'm here again today with Jack and Adrian of Seven Spires. Thank you both so much for taking the time to chat today. How you guys doing?
Pleasure. Doing great.
Yeah, really good. How are you?
Nice.
You?
Good, good. I'm doing pretty well, thanks. I just got back from work. I work in
Nice.
a hospital, so just got back home and just wanted to chat with you guys really quick. So it's really good to see you all again. I know we did meet up back in April 26th, I think it was at the Camelot show. So
Yep.
thank you both again for taking the time to chat today also. And Adrian, just really quick, I wanted to ask how Avantasia is going so far.
Yeah, with Avantasia, it's going great. We had the biggest set yet, I would say. Like the stage presentation is super cool. We have fire. We have yeah,
Nice.
just an awesome production. Really, really great lineup. We have Tommy Karavik with us right now, and he's
Yep.
singing. Well, I don't want to give spoilers, but anyway, I saw him in our backstage area, and I was like, "What?"
You?
Oh, so that was cool. That was cool.
Nice,
Very
nice. That's
happy.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Cool. I'm glad it's
I'm
going
in
well.
between shows right now. We had
Yep.
a few days off, so I'm here in England visiting a friend. And actually tonight at 1 in the morning, I'll go back to the airport and
Yeah.
rejoin the Germans for the shows.
Nice, nice. You guys are in Spain tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Yeah, cool. Hope it goes well.
Thank
So
you.
we are now. I just wanted to ask really quick before we get started. What have you guys been listening to lately?
Oh, go ahead,
Ooh.
Jack.
I just discovered this band a few days ago, or the other day. Called In Vain. And they're,
Oh,
for
cool,
me, musically, like somewhere in between things like Draconian and the same kind of uplifting melodeath as Omnium Gatherum. And it was like
cool.
great production, like
Send
really
me a link,
harmonically
bro.
rich guitars. And
Nice, nice,
so that's, I've been jamming that for a few days. Like that's
cool,
shit's right up my alley.
nice. I gotta check them out. That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
same here.
What about you?
I've been listening to piano versions of Studio Ghibli themes and a lot of Edward Elgar, just because
Cool.
the scenery here calls for it. It's very
Absolutely, it does.
idyllic and
Yep,
yeah.
that's cool. That's awesome. So we're now 8 days away from Fortress Called Home releasing on Frontiers. It must be crazy. You guys would be going like, oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
A
crazy.
bit.
It really snuck up. Like,
I completely
it
agree.
seems like we finished it. I sent off the masters, and then it was the waiting game for like 2 weeks, and then 4 months passed in the next 2 weeks. So,
right, right, right. That's cool. So how does it feel to get it out finally?
whew, it's daunting.
Like a whirlwind.
Yeah, it as with anything, it's like here's a piece of my soul. What do you think? Like,
Yeah,
do you like it? Do you like
and
me? Do you hate me now? Like,
I
it's a
showed you my
very
soul. Do you still think I'm cute?
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
that's great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to double check on release day. Is there going to be a new single video that drops as well?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. And are you guys able to say which one?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't know, but
I,
it's not far. So we
yeah,
could just say it.
I guess so. Well, there will be a video single for the song "Portrait of Us."
Okay. I wanted to talk to you guys about that one later. That's cool. Awesome. Cool, cool. So the last time we spoke, I had not heard the promo yet, but I've had it for a few weeks now, and I haven't stopped listening to it. Adrian had
Oh,
mentioned during our last interview Now with Jack having been doing the mixing, the mastering, and all of that, the the album seems to be at a like different levels sonically, and I couldn't agree more with that. Jack, what was the mixing and mastering process like for you, and how was the experience? Did you enjoy it, and do you foresee that you're going to be doing this in future albums as well?
Oh, that's a lot of questions back to back. I'll see if I
Yeah,
can hit them all
Did
in
you
order.
enjoy it, Jack?
Yeah, it's sort of like if when you have a favorite sport and you compete in it at a high level, and there's a lot of pressure to like win the game, do a good job, play well, but
yeah,
you're also exhausted at the end. So it was a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and so there definitely was a huge effort that went into it, but I also love it. So it's like
sure.
it's there's pros and cons, and they equate to it having been the right move, I think.
Cool. That's
As far as the next stuff, I hope so. I have no idea. Maybe when the next one rolls around, I'll decide that I hate it and I'm gonna go live in the countryside and let somebody else do that.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we'll work with Sasha again. I don't know, but it would be
cool.
nice at the moment, I think.
For sure, for sure. That's cool. So I wanted to ask about the writing process. So for both of you, when writing this album, did you find that you needed to have a melody in mind prior to writing the lyrics, or did you have the lyrics set already and then came up with the melodies later after the fact?
Sometimes the melodies are um, whispered to my brain
Nice.
as the lyrics stare at me from the page.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes it's the other way around.
Cool,
So
cool.
that we do it from any possible starting point in any combination. It's always a great time and always exhausting and always worth it.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
That's cool.
It's like
Nice.
looking up in the sky and seeing the stars, and there's like different things going on, and you're like, what the hell is that one? And then
Yeah,
you have to figure it out.
yeah, for sure. For sure.
Sometimes it's a plane, and sometimes it's a star, and
Is that a satellite overhead?
Sometimes it's astigmatism.
Yeah, right, right. So I wanted to say about Emerald Necklace, right? It's a great example of melodies that really lend themselves to lyrics. I had mentioned to Jack in a comment on his page that Emerald Necklace, I'm not going to lie, it chokes me up every time I hear it. And I don't know that I've ever heard a more perfect medley that brings the words to life like this track does. Although I would say that Succumb kind of gave me similar vibes as well. Was there any specific inspiration for the melody? And can you talk a little bit about the thought process that went behind the song?
Um, yes, I'm almost afraid to tell you. There is a well-known pop song that was making the rounds on Instagram Reels, and
Uh-huh.
also a similar like classical piece with a similar melodic contour and motion. And I was like,
Sure.
this fits exactly how I feel, and it fits exactly the vibe of this brain dump, which eventually became the lyrics.
Sure.
And I sent the first version of the demo to Jack, and he was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And I'm like, "All right, I hate to spoil it for you, but it's this song." And then he was like, "Man." So then we like, this is actually something they teach in songwriting classes at Berkeley, even. They're like,
Yep.
if you're so stuck with this melody, but it's somebody else's, we can like turn it. Okay, I mean, the same way that like Bach does, you can invert it, you can
Yep.
turn it around backwards, you can also invert that.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can put it into the relative or parallel minor. You can
Parallel
do all
minors.
sorts of
Yep.
things. Yep, you can change certain melodies, or you can change like instead of it going like this, it can go like that. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have like the original feeling is still there, but you find your own ways to express it because I mean the person that wrote that song maybe has had much different life experiences and different media input than I've had. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's cool.
Hmm.
That's cool.
that was a tough one.
So it's interesting
It's
that you brought
where
that
the
up. I
like
wanted to ask about another song as well in a minute, but go ahead, Jack. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I just like to talk. The it's one of those things where the music school experience and the education like really helps because you can be drawn to something like that was made by somebody else and
Sure.
have your own intake for it and then be able to turn it into something that is your own
Exactly.
expression and stuff. It's sort of like the white collar crime of music, like because you know all the rules, it's easier to get away with stuff that you shouldn't. But
Yeah.
it's technically
Also,
not illegal.
right.
let me
And
just
also
invert
like
this, make it a minor, and we're good.
right, but like with this music school thing in particular, like knowing all the rules helps at least me as a songwriter and probably Jack as well. Like when I
Sure.
look at a piece of music, I can say, "Oh, I love this thing so much. Here are the five things that I love about it, and here's the identity of the song." So if I take away or change these three or even all five of these things, then I can replicate or I can take this same feeling and yeah, like make an Adrienne skinned version. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Absolutely. Yeah. 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 For
Yeah.
sure.
Then I'm
So there
not
was
like
another
doing it
track.
blindly and
What's that?
illegally. Then I'm not doing it blindly and illegally.
And illegally, right? Maybe just one or the other. No, that's cool. So there's another track that I have to say is probably one of my favorites on the album. And you talk about like lending like pop songs or something like that that might kind of equate to that. I did want to ask also, um, it's Portrait of Us. There is a line in the chorus that really reminds me of a pop song as well. And I was curious if there's any pop influence behind that one also.
I want to tell you, I know exactly the line you mean, and it was not on purpose. And I didn't think of it until the demo was done, and Jack was like,
Yeah.
now I'm not even going to say the line because that's going to ruin it for everybody. But the thing actually that influenced the song the most was Sasha's creative input on the album Silverthorn from Camelot.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
like when we worked on this, I had like such like Silverthorn vibes the whole day.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you why, but and also like this song Citizen Zero, na, 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 na,
Yeah.
na,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this was like so in my mind when working on that. But I was like, okay, don't copy Sasha, but we can again, it's the same thing, like don't copy it, but like
Yep. Yep.
here's the vibe that we love, and here are tools that I prefer versus the tools that this person prefers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Um, so
I don't even remember what the song was that
I'll
you.
tell you later.
Okay, sounds good.
I can say it after we're done too. I'm curious to see if it's the same song actually. But it was one of those melodies where I had to like, I don't know if you know that Google has this thing where you can hum into it and it'll
Hmm.
pick up what song it thinks you're talking about.
Hmm.
So I had to hum the melody because it was driving me crazy and I couldn't think of what the name of the song was. And it actually popped up. It was the first one that it gave me. Um,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Not our melody, but the melody that you were thinking of.
Right. The melody I was thinking of. Right.
Okay.
Right, right.
Now we send me a
Can't go
link
to
to that
court for
because we
that one
need to
either.
start. We this will save us a lot of time
Yeah.
Yeah, good
wondering
point.
Definitely,
what we're
man. I'll shoot
ripping
it to you.
off.
So I wanted to ask about another song as well. Probably again another favorite of mine. Love Souvenir. Um, Absolutely, probably one of my most listened to songs. I actually had to ask John to reset the stream for me because of that. It locked it out.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask about that song, it kind of gave me vibes of like old school Nightwish, like a little slow love slow maybe.
Mhm.
But also
Is
I don't
that
know if you
old
guys ever
school?
have you ever heard of a band called Leprous?
I fucking love Leprous.
Yeah.
So weird.
Absolutely, yeah.
So kind of gave me some Leprous vibes as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What can you say
definitely
about
during
that
the
track?
recording, the vocal recording process, we
Yeah,
were definitely trying to get a little bit of Adrian Does Einar, and I think it.
exactly. Yeah, for sure. So I have to say that track gives me chills every time I hear it, especially when I heard. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for people, but shall we call it the big surprise, right? Because it's like jazz infused and stuff, and then there's a pretty big
Yep.
shock all of a sudden, and it gave me chills when I first heard it. And I think the juxtaposition between some harsh vocals that are happening, some clean vocals that are happening, and even more so, just the string and the orchestration really, really, really kind of played with my emotions a lot. So I just wanted to find
Great.
out, yeah. So I wanted to find out, can you just talk a little bit more about the concepts and the inspiration behind these tracks?
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
love talking about this song. It might be, I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it's one of my favorites on the album for sure. It's
nice.
also, I would say, one of the most painful, like physically and also emotionally, and also
Emotionally, for sure.
one of the biggest pain in the ass songs to sing. That's for sure. Um, but basically this song came from okay, in the press release I was like, I visited the void twice, blah blah blah. So this was one of those days. This song came from, I think, I would just use the D word. I was so depressed. I was like, I don't want to wake up. I
Yeah.
I don't I can't go on. Can't do it. Don't want to do it. I just can't do it. Jack brought me a grilled cheese and tomato soup, and
Nothing
It was
bad,
I
that
was
day.
it was I'm pretty sure it was that day. And
Oh,
this I was like, I don't have anything left. I have no creative nothing. All I can do is rot in bed, and yeah, there's no poetry in rotting away in bed and blah blah blah. Um and so then after I started, like, it's not my first rodeo, we've had Big Sad for a while, and I I know that when I feel like that, it's just like there's a stillness and like a paralysis that happens, and it's because deep down there's many things that are just so troublesome, let's say. Um, and so with this song Love Souvenir, I mean, there is this like jazziness. For me, this is like the paralysis of like rotting in bed, and then the big surprise is like all the turmoil and agony. And I sound like an edgelord, but I hope that I'm
Yeah,
uh,
no, for sure.
making
It does.
sense.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
cool.
arrangement wise, it's like a little bit of a weird thing too because I've talked about this in other interviews, so I'll spoil it for some people. I don't care. But
Hmm.
the song starts, and there are a lot of sections of mostly acoustic, like
Yeah,
instruments, upright bass from Pete, really, natural sounding drum kit and piano. And these are very like traditionally beautiful sounding
absolutely.
instruments,
Yeah,
but in the song, they're very dry and like raw and almost ugly sounding. And then
It's
the
like
next section,
being at like a senior recital in music school, or like a
yeah.
like a
yeah, yeah,
jury.
and then there are the next section, like kind of the pre-chorus section,
Mhm.
where it opens up, and there are a lot of synths, like really tense synths and sub drops and pulses and stuff that
Yeah,
are traditionally considered, very like not ugly, but synthetic and weird. But then those are more ambient and spacious and beautiful and
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
it's like a weird arrangement juxtaposition between
yep.
like things that are supposed to like make you happy and bring you joy, and things that are supposed to be like, but they have the opposite effect. So I think that's like a really cool thing too. Before you get the big
Yeah.
surprise.
No, I agree. I agree, definitely. It's very ethereal too, like the way it all kind of like it's almost dissonant in a way. Like not
Yeah,
actually,
totally.
Totally
but
dissonant.
it's almost dissonant in a way. Yeah, yeah.
That's
So Jack, you had
upsetting.
mentioned, sorry, what's that?
It's upsetting.
Yeah, right. So Jack, you had mentioned the last time that this album doesn't necessarily follow a linear storyline like past albums have. Completely agree with that. It's very clear, start to finish. Do you find, for both of you, do you find that this allowed for more freedom within the songs, allowing them to be more introspective and raw?
That's a good question. I I think maybe, but if so, we didn't realize it because the goal is always to make the best song that we possibly can.
Sure.
So I think there's always a pretty good sense of freedom, and the constraints are what the particular thing wants to be,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
our ability or inability to find it.
Yep, yep. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if that
totally
made much
agree.
sense, but sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 it
Oh
does.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think we've always been free. And it just so happens that this is not so it's not as much of a journey on a ship. I think there was actually a point where this was looking like it was going to be part of the series officially. And to
the
be honest,
series,
in
right.
other interviews, like in other interviews, I've been like, I can't truthfully say it is or is not because it's full of lyrical and melodic and other references to other songs from the previous three albums. However, it's kind of boring to tell a story about like staying in one place unless you sit there and you look inside and you're like, oh God. Then it's not boring at all.
Right, right.
It's
No,
sort of
absolutely.
like in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Every time you see Davy Jones, and he's always like, "Do you fear death, Jack Sparrow?" And he's like really menacing. And
Yeah,
the only time you ever see him like being a softie is talking to Calypso. And that's
yeah.
kind of what this album is like. Like every other time is like, ah, and then this album is a little bit of like, I do have a soul.
I
Oh, is that
do
what's
have a
down there?
soul.
Okay. Yeah. Cool, cool. And I know you both mentioned the last time that there were several guests, including like Adrian's vocal coach, Kristen Starkey, David Atkinson, and some more. The duets I thought were really, really beautiful, very well done. What was it like working with them on this album? And can you tell us which songs were with which guests?
So the first real song, Songs Upon Weinstein Tongues, features dearly beloved Alessandro Conti from Twilight Force.
Yeah, I thought that was yeah.
Uh, yep. And this, I mean, everyone you mentioned already, Ty, Kirsten, David, also David's daughter. Oh
Yeah,
my God, wait, I have to talk about that in a second. But all of these people, just like, I couldn't have asked for better. They
that's
were
amazing.
perfect, and I'm so happy that they're involved in this album.
Cool.
What I want to say about Ale is that I've been a fan of him since I was in high school, and listening to his work with Luca Turilli's Rhapsody actually was a big influence and really big inspiration as I was learning to sing power metal. And getting to tour with them was incredible. And also, it was the year that I decided like I'm gonna stop hiding my weird self. I'm just gonna be and be like just open myself, stop isolating. And he was one of the first people that I like one of the first friends that I really connected with.
That's
And I will
awesome.
always hold that so dear. And that's kind of like the whole song is about the terror of opening yourself
Yeah.
in that way, in any way, really. But what I want to say about David's daughter is she's singing this line, somewhere there is someone that loves you before
Oh,
nothing
that was
ever.
her? Okay. Cool,
She's
cool.
there singing in the choirs at the end
Yeah,
of the album.
cool.
And the fact that it's her and her father singing this together, man, I want to cry just thinking about it.
Oh, nice.
It's such a beautiful and special thing, and I'm really happy that's we get to have that
That's
on our
awesome. That's
album
really
too.
cool. Yeah, that must
Uh,
be no, that must be great though. That's really cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and
The
she did a
only thing
beautiful
I
job.
wish is when but specifically on Love Souvenir with Kristen and Ty, they're
Yeah.
so good at what they do. They understood the assignment immediately and just executed it so fast with so little direction that I
Amazing.
almost felt like it was impersonal. Like I wish that we had been like I had been able to record them and or like we'd had some
Yeah.
back and forth and stuff. But it was just kind of like, hey, do you want to sing on this song? Yeah, here you go. All right, thanks. It's great. Bye. Like that was it.
But it was literally perfect.
Yeah,
It
and
really was.
it that doesn't suck, but it sucks that we didn't get to like,
Yell
interact a
at
bit
shit.
more
Like
during the
actually
process
interact.
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
also amazing and such great
Yeah.
people.
I've
Yeah.
met Kristen before, but that's it. That's cool. So with this being Chris's last album actually recording,
Mm.
and Dylan now has been on tour with you guys for quite some time. How's the search for a permanent drummer coming along?
Pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Cool.
I can't really wholeheartedly say it's going on. We
Yeah,
you know,
Right.
Dylan
the
is
more of these
pretty cool.
interviews,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
killing it.
the more we are around him and the more time we have to think about it, the more it's feeling pretty right. And I
For
think
sure.
something would have to go pretty wrong at this point to to
All
change that.
right, cool.
Or he decides that he doesn't like us anymore.
I would find that hard to believe.
We'll see. But it's been
But
known
all
to
right, cool,
happen. I'll see what
cool,
I can
cool.
do.
So, right, what can I do this time? So finally, I wanted to ask: is there going to be an album release show locally for you guys?
Oh, not really. I mean, we're headlining Mile High Power Fest, right?
Right.
That's the name. It's not Mile
Yeah,
High,
yeah.
and it's not Mad with Power. They're both in the US and they're both power metal focused, and my brain is so full of many things. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're good.
So I
We're
think
doing
we've
that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think we're sort of considering that as a release show of sorts,
Oh, nice.
but that's not really like an official thing. I think it's just something in our hearts because
Yeah.
we also don't have any further US dates this year, as far as I know. Is that right? I haven't like completely forgotten.
Yeah, yeah.
So far,
Like
yeah.
scheduling wise, Adrian's out all summer with Avantasia, and Pete's doing
Yeah.
a lot of touring right now as well.
Yep.
And any kind of attempts to do some US stuff later in the year doesn't really seem to be working out.
But
So
yeah, for sure.
yeah, but
Cool.
never say never. Maybe we'll do something down the line. Maybe we'll end up deciding that we want to do something. It's nothing is set in stone at the moment. So
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
All
if
right. That
Yeah.
enough
I mean, I
people
think
cry, then we can.
that's right.
if you cry, they will come. All right.
We
Cool.
Or if
hope
they
to.
Jack
We
and
cry,
hope
we
Adrian,
to.
will come.
what's that?
If they cry, we will come.
Exactly. Exactly. Jack and Adrian, thank you so much again for your time. A Fortress to Call Home. Excuse me. A Fortress Called Home will release next Friday, June 21st via Frontiers Music. Be sure to pre-order. There's going to be a link below. Jack and Adrian, thank you again so much for your time.
You're very
Thank you as
welcome.
well.
Thanks for
This was
having us.
amazing.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.